Jambo, welcome to another enlightening episode. We appreciate your continued support. It's always a pleasure to see new faces joining our intellectual journey. And of course, our regular viewers, you are the pillars that hold up this platform. Today, we're going to embark on an intriguing exploration of one of the most renowned biblical narratives, Sodom and Gomorrah. But we're not just skimming the surface, we're diving deep, uncovering the lesser-known aspects of this ancient tale. We'll delve into the hidden sins that these cities were infamous for, sins that often slip under the radar in common interpretations. We hope to shed a new light on this age-old story, bringing forth insights that may challenge our perceptions and enrich our understanding. This promises to be a captivating journey into the depths of biblical history and human nature. Ready to delve into the depths of this ancient tale? Karibu sana. Our journey takes us back, way back, to the times of Abraham, a time filled with divine interactions and moral lessons. In the fertile plains of Jordan, nestled between the Jordan River and the Dead Sea, lay two cities that would echo through the ages, Sodom and Gomorrah. These cities, renowned in biblical lore, were notorious for their wickedness. This wasn't your average corruption or deceit. No, their iniquity was so great that it reached the very heavens, catching the attention of the divine. Now imagine a man named Lot, a relative of Abraham, the patriarch of many nations. Lot, a man of considerable wealth, had to part ways with Abraham due to the sheer size of their herds. Abraham, being the elder and the more generous of the two, offered Lot the first choice of land. Lot, captivated by the lush Jordan plains, chose to pitch his tents near Sodom, unaware of the city's reputation. Over time, Lot and his family became entwined with the city of Sodom. They moved from the outskirts into the heart of the city, becoming part of its social fabric. All the while, the wickedness of Sodom and its sister city Gomorrah grew in magnitude. The people indulged in excess, neglected the poor and the needy, and exhibited a shocking lack of hospitality to strangers. Their sins were numerous, their hearts hardened. And yet, amidst this moral decay, Lot remained a righteous man, at least in the eyes of the divine. He and his family were like a single bloom in a field of thorns, a beacon of righteousness surrounded by a sea of iniquity. But what was the real sin of these cities that led to their downfall? Let's unravel this mystery. Many have heard of the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah, but there's more beneath the surface than you might think. Delving deeper into the biblical texts, we uncover sins that may not be as well known as the more infamous transgressions associated with these cities. These lesser-known sins, however, are equally significant in understanding the moral degradation that led to the city's downfall. Firstly, let's explore the sin of pride. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 49 states, "Behold, this was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had pride, excess of food and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy." Pride, an overbearing sense of self-importance, was a key failing in Sodom and Gomorrah. Their citizens' hearts were filled with arrogance, blinding them to their moral responsibilities. Next, we come to gluttony. The same verse from Ezekiel highlights an excess of food. The cities were prosperous and bountiful, yet their citizens indulged excessively, demonstrating a lack of temperance and self-control. Gluttony, in its broader sense, symbolizes an insatiable desire for more, which was prevalent in these cities. Finally, we turn our attention to the neglect of the poor and needy. This sin, too, is explicitly mentioned in Ezekiel. Despite their prosperity, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah failed to extend their hands to those in need. This lack of empathy and disregard for social responsibility was another significant sin that marked their moral decay. These lesser-known sins, pride, gluttony, and neglect of the poor, paint a picture of cities consumed by self-interest, excess, and a lack of compassion. While these sins may not be as explicitly associated with Sodom and Gomorrah as others, they were instrumental in the city's downfall. These sins, while not as commonly discussed, contributed significantly to the downfall of these cities. The divine judgment that befell Sodom and Gomorrah was severe, but it was not without reason. This was not a capricious act of divine anger, but rather a consequence of the city's persistent and willful disregard for moral and ethical boundaries. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by fire and brimstone, a divine judgment that was both swift and devastating. The cities had become a breeding ground for sin, their inhabitants indulging in acts of immorality and injustice with no regard for the welfare of others. This disregard for others manifested in various ways, including inhospitality, greed, and the exploitation of the vulnerable. But what led to such a severe judgment? The answer lies in the nature of the sins committed. These were not mere transgressions. They were systemic, deeply ingrained in the fabric of society, and perpetuated by a collective disregard for moral and ethical norms. This judgment, however, was not delivered without a chance for redemption. A warning was given, a chance for change offered. But the people of Sodom and Gomorrah were too entrenched in their ways to heed the warning, and thus they faced the consequences of their actions. Fast forward to today, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah serves as a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the consequences of collective moral decay. It encourages us to examine our societies critically, to question whether we are upholding the values of justice, compassion, and respect for others. It prompts us to reflect on our actions, individually and collectively. Are we contributing to the welfare of our communities, or are we, consciously or unconsciously, perpetuating injustices? Are we extending hospitality to those in need, or are we turning a blind eye to their suffering? It also underscores the importance of heeding warnings and taking the opportunity to change course when it is offered. Ignoring the signs of moral and ethical decline can lead to severe consequences, just as it did for Sodom and Gomorrah. As we see, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is not just a tale of ancient times, but a timely reminder for today. As we wind up our journey, we must remember the lessons from Sodom and Gomorrah. We've traveled back in time, unearthing the hidden sins of these ancient cities and highlighting the divine judgment that befell them. We've learned that pride, gluttony, and indifference to the poor were as much a part of their downfall as their more notorious transgressions. These stories, while ancient, still echo with relevance today, reminding us to treat each other with kindness, to share our blessings, and to stand against injustice. They serve as a cautionary tale, urging us to steer clear of the path of arrogance and indifference that led to Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction. So let's carry these lessons forward, applying them in our daily lives and interactions. Let's strive to make our world a place of compassion, understanding, and respect for all. Thank you for journeying with us today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and join us for more enlightening discussions. Kwaheri!